Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Fame. In today's video, we're going to break down how I recreated a shot from the bear and long legs. Just by looking at this frame, I knew that I would have to set up multiple lights. We have this warm color on the right side of his face and this cooler color on the left side of his face. And behind him we have some practical warm house lights. So I began by setting up my light stands. I put my small aperture MC on one stand and my more powerful aperture light on another stand that I ended up regretting later on, which we'll get to. On the C stand, I used a cheap little tube light, which was going to act as the warm practical in the background. Step 2, setting up the frame. I haven't even turned on any of the lights yet because I wanted to nail the blocking first. And as you can see, I'm very hesitant on this because I noticed there's too much information behind me. You have my posters on the wall, the ceiling fan, and the AC vent. So this frame did not work at all. So I moved to another side of my room where there was less going on behind me. In these little BTS clips that you're seeing, if you notice me glancing over my shoulder constantly, that's because I'm looking at the frame. Once I was comfortable with the blocking, I began by turning on all the lights.
Break down all the lights, let me hold you close.
You can see that I'm really not too happy with how this is looking. The tube light on the C stand isn't giving enough glow. It's not matching the bloom that's in the frame. So I solved this by attaching a Promise filter to my lens. It's going to give that light a little more pop that we need. The key light with the softbox on it is at 1%, and I believe I had the tube light and the MC at 100% as well.
My love won't fade after the preview.
I brought in another tube light to act as the edge light for the right side of my face. I matched the color temperatures on both of the tube lights. I noticed in the frame there's a little eye light in Carmi's eye. So I brought in this work light that I never used but came in handy for this little shot. Even on its lowest setting, it's still a little too bright, so I diffused it with some toilet paper. The reflection from the knife that goes over Carmi's face was a bit of a challenge to do, but I found the biggest knife possible, and to get that reflection on my face, I just used a little flashlight. And with this specific flashlight, thankfully you can control the shape of the lighting, which I thought was really cool. And as I'm trying to match the reflection, I noticed there's too much spread from it on my face, so I controlled that by using 2 pieces of duct tape over the top and bottom half of the flashlight. I thought I really had it. I thought I nailed it. I kept all the lights and cameras in place just in case I didn't have it, which thankfully I did, because after examining the footage, I was not happy. I didn't hit my mark. I was too far back from the camera, my face was overexposed, and the background had just too much information. It had way too much lighting. Looking back at this, I should have just used a reflector, not a big ass softbox. I ended up taking away the key light completely and just using the work light alone for my face. I blacked out my windows to take away all the information behind me. I repositioned myself and finally hit my mark. And it's kind of a good thing that I didn't get this shot on the first go through, because I forgot the apron that Carmi is wearing. But I just used a dog leash, which worked out flawlessly if I say so myself. Recreating the shot from long legs.
Don't move.
The first thing I did for this shot was bought a shower curtain, and this acts as the cover that hangs over the door frame that the detective walks through. I cut it straight down the middle and duct taped it over the door frame. And I wish I had more BTS of how the lights were set up, but it really wasn't too complex for this shot. I used my powerful Amaran light as the key light, and I know there's 2 tube lights here, but I only used 1. and I had that just right of frame at 25%. There's this bright, warm lamp in the background behind the detective, and I used my other powerful newer light to act as that lamp. And for this light, I believe I had it at 2900, but I put a warm gel over it to make it even warmer. Here I'm using Q-tips to dab dots of blood on Daisy's face, and shout out to her for letting me do that. In this bathroom, we are limited. I was as far back as I could go, and even then my 18 was punched in way too much, so I had to compromise. I brought in my wide lens, and it worked out perfectly for this shot. The only thing difficult about this shot was nailing the blocking, but after a couple attempts, we finally got it.
Don't move. Don't move.
And that concludes today's episode of Behind the Fame. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I think this is a record for this channel because we've posted 2 times in 1 month. How about that? I hope you guys enjoyed today's breakdown. I'm Thomas Tuttle from Full of Fame. Thanks for watching. Oh, and be sure you're following us on Instagram and TikTok at Full of Fame. We're posting updates on the movie every week. Thank you guys. Peace.